Alrighty, on to chapter 11, whoop whoop, of Outlier by Lisa Beeson, second book in the Transcendent series, chapter 11. Adam got out of the new rental car he picked up when he flew into Savannah to stand in front of the house with the for sale sign in the yard to make it look like he was a potential buyer. The house was across the street and about 2 houses down from the Rileys. He'd been making periodic sweeps of the neighborhood over the past couple weeks to make sure there wasn't anyone suspicious lurking around and to gauge the normal daily patterns of the Rileys and their neighbors. He knew that the person selling the house was an old lady that lived by herself and was very chatty with the neighbors when she took her Cocker Spaniel out for walks around the neighborhood. And she was due to be home from one of those walks right about... Can I help you, young man? Asked the tiny old woman with a sweet southern accent and a friendly smile. She was adorable in her white sneakers and pink tracksuit, with her silver hair piled on top of her head in a perfect bun. She looked like the sporty version of the quintessential grandmother. Her ancient dog with rheumy eyes looked like he was over it all and plopped down on the pavement, accustomed to taking small naps while his owner talked to other people. "Oh, excuse me, ma'am. I was just looking at this house for sale. It seems like just the sort of place my wife and I were looking for," he said, trying to sound as mild-mannered and unthreatening as he could. He practically dwarfed the woman. "Well, aren't you in luck? I just happen to be the owner of this wonderful home, and I can assure you it would be just perfect for you," she said with a twinkle in her eye. "The place has become too big for just Barkley and me to rattle around in. I'm moving to Florida to be closer to my daughter and her family. They live down in Tampa. Oh, I can't wait to be near my grandbabies. Is it just you and your wife?" "Us and our 2 boys. "Oh, well, isn't that just perfect?" she interrupted happily, placing a hand on his arm. "There's plenty of room for you and your family. It has 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, and a rumpus room over the garage. Oh, and there's a pool out back that I'm sure your boys will just love. It's in excellent condition. It's just too much for me to take care of anymore. Are your wife and boys with you?" she asked, craning her neck to see in his car. "Unfortunately, no. I just got transferred here from Birmingham, and my wife wanted me to scout the area first to see where the nice neighborhoods are. You see, back home our neighbor's house got broken into, and it's made her nervous." "Oh, I completely understand," she interrupted again. "The world is becoming such a scary place with all the gangs and the terrorists and such. It wasn't like that when I was growing up. It's such a shame. But don't you have to worry about that here. This neighborhood is a wonderful community. Everyone looks out for each other. In fact, Barksy and I go walking twice a day, and we never have any problems." "You haven't seen anyone out of place or suspicious?" "Oh, heavens, no. Nothing bad ever happens around here." Then she paused, obviously thinking over what she should say. Whether she should say what she wanted to say next. But the gossip in her just couldn't be contained. "Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, young man, because I'm an honest person, and I don't want you to think I'm one of those shady people you see on the news, flim-flamming people." Adam had to contain the smirk that was threatening to break free. "Of course not. I would never think—"
"Good. Shh. Come here," she said, motioning to him to lean down closer to her and looking around in case someone was trying to listen in. "Now, the youngest Riley girl, she used to live in that great house over across the street over there. Well, she got murdered back in March, but don't you worry. It wasn't around here. It was downtown in Savannah."
"Oh, that's horrible," Adam commiserated. "Did you know her well?"
"Well, of course I did. She was my neighbor.
she said, looking slightly offended, but got over it quickly.
Now, it's not official, but rumor has it that her birth parents, she was adopted, by the way, well, they say they must have been some foreign refugees or something like that, since the girl had no records when they found her, all by herself in some canal, all banged up and unconscious. They did something to get themselves taken out by some mafia gangsters or the like, and those gangsters must have finally come back to finish the job. Poor girl. She was just the sweetest thing, too. Always so nice to me and Barksley. That whole family is good people, always helping me out with the yard work and such. Since my Martin passed away about 6 years ago, I thought it was just the end of the world when Martin passed. But can you believe that family has lost 2 daughters? The eldest to cancer and the youngest to murder. I cannot even imagine. I asked Tess, how do you even go on? And do you know what she told me?
She paused, looking up at him expectantly, and Adam realized she wasn't asking a rhetorical question. She actually was waiting for him to answer. She just shook his head and shrugged. He had no idea what Tess told her.
She told me, and I quote, I had my moments of despair and mourning, Connie, but bitterness is poison to the soul. I need to be an example to my other children and show them that life is a blessing and that must be treasured. I will miss my daughters every day of my life, but I know in my heart that I will see them again someday, and I want to be someone they can be proud of. Can you believe that?
She said, dabbing at the tears forming at the corners of her eyes with her arthritic knuckles.
The whole family is like that, too. Their boy Hector, I thought he'd go off the handle after his little sister was murdered, and the police just sort of brushed it all under the carpet due to lack of evidence. He's always had a temper, that one. I think it's that spicy Latin blood in him. But no, he practiced real hard over the summer and became the captain of his school's varsity soccer team. He started wearing a white armband in honor of Kira and dedicated the season to her. And soon the whole team was wearing those armbands, and they've been undefeated so far. And their middle daughter, Sadie, she worked real hard and got picked up by a dance company in Atlanta, and they've been touring all over the country. Amazing family,
she said, shaking her head in awe. They heard a garage door open across the street, and a Subaru hatchback pulled out, driven by a pretty woman that looked around Adam's age. She waved to Connie as she drove by, and Connie waved enthusiastically back at her.
That was Rachel Jacobs. Her and her husband Ben just had a baby boy a couple months ago, and they named him Kieran in honor of Kira. The Jacobs and the Rileys are real close. Rachel used to be Kira's piano teacher, and boy, could that little girl play. She had a God-given talent. She could have been a famous pianist one day if those evil people hadn't taken her away from us. It's such a shame the world will be deprived of that. Every Friday afternoon in the fall and winter, when Rachel would open her windows, Barksley and I would walk by and just stand there and listen to that girl play. She played so beautifully, it gave me goosebumps. She had a gift of making people feel the music. You know what I mean?
Adam nodded. He knew exactly what she meant. He'd felt that music too, and it really was a damn shame that Ari couldn't share that with the world. Anger rose within him at the thought of the people who had taken that away from her, taken his family from her, and it made him more determined than ever to find her and help her become the person she was meant to be. Connie's wristwatch began to beep incessantly.
Oh, that means it's time to take my medications,
she said, looking down at her watch and turning the alarm off the alarm.
Lord, is that time? Please forgive me. You probably have things to do, and here I am jabbering on like there's no tomorrow.
No, really, it was a pleasure, he said, smiling down at her. She smiled back up at him.
Well, you write down my realtor's number from that sign and you give her a call. Her name is Deanna Montgomery. And you tell her that Connie Bishop gave you her seal of approval. But you better not drag your feet, you hear? Houses around here get snatched up real quick.
I will, thank you, he said, shaking her delicate hand.
You bring that wife and those boys of yours back here with you, and I'll give you a tour of the inside of the house. I know you'll just love it,
she said, and then tugged gently on Barksley's leash.
Wake up, precious. It's time to go inside.
The dog groggily stood up and started slowly making his way towards the front door.
Have a good day, mister. Oh, dear heavens, I never got your name.
Brian Yates, he said, giving her the name of a guy he went to basic training with.
All right, Mr. Yates, you have a nice day now,
she said, waving as she walked up to her front door. You too, Mrs. Bishop. Thanks again. He waved back and walked back over to his car. He got in and turned the key in the ignition and saw that it was 11:17. Just enough time to get over to Forsyth Park, where Ruby St. Clair ate her lunch by the fountain every day around 11:30. Now that he knew Ari's family were safe and doing well, he figured it was time to approach the seer and see what she had to say. He parked on a side street off of Drayton and walked into the park towards the fountain. It was a sunny day and the temperature was a perfect 75 degrees. The park was crowded with locals and tourists enjoying the beautiful weather, which made it easier for Adam to blend in. He found Ruby in her usual spot and started walking towards her. He had planned to sit down on the other side of the bench and start up a conversation. But when he was still about 20 feet away, she packed up the rest of her lunch. She looked him straight in the eyes, showing him in a glance that she knew exactly who he was and that she had no intention of talking with him. She stood up and started walking in his direction, leaving a book behind on the bench. As she walked past him, he was barely able to hear her say under her breath, "She's worth it." Then she walked purposely on, as though there was somewhere important she needed to be. Adam was in shock, but his training kicked in. Adam was in shock, but his training kicked in and he kept on walking as if nothing unusual just happened. He had never met that woman before. He'd been watching her over the past week, but there was no way she could have noticed him. Yet she knew who he was. He sat down on the bench and casually picked up the book that he knew she had left behind on purpose. It was an old copy of the epic poem Paradise Lost by John Milton. He opened it up and saw on the inside cover that there was an inscription. To him. To Adam. May this book be enlightening to you. How the hell does she know my name? He flipped through the pages and found a small piece of paper with a bunch of numbers on it, organized in ordered rows. Adam figured it might be some kind of cipher, and the book must be the key. He closed the book and stood up, putting the piece of paper in his pocket, and headed back towards the car. He had work to do. That was a shorter chapter, but we're going back to Ari at Artemir now, so we'll just go ahead and end chapter 11 right here. And I'm going to start filming chapter 12. The sun's going down, so I better hurry. Ah! Okay. Thanks. Peace.